Program Director, my dearest sister, and in his presence and in his absence as well, from amongst us, His Excellency President Hichilema, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Your Excellency, the Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, my brother Lukonde, Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, Mr. Gwede Mantashe, who should have told you that he was also in the same union that I worked in, and I taught him a number of things which he does not want to talk about. Ministers and deputy ministers here present from across our African continent, the executive mayor of Cape Town, Councillor Gordon Hill-Lewis, and the chairman of Investing in African Mining Indaba, Mr. Franz Baleni, another person who was also in the same union that I led. And I also taught him a number of things which he will not talk about. Representatives of the industry, representatives of labor and civil society, business leaders who are present here, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. As we gather here at this 30th Investing in African Mining Indaba, which I congratulate you for, most important anniversary of holding this mining Indaba. It coincides with the 30th anniversary of our own democracy here in South Africa. Of course, because you want to get some brownie points, you will argue that your 30th anniversary comes first before our 30th anniversary comes on the 27th of April. But nonetheless, we congratulate you, Mr. Baleni, for this great anniversary. And we meet at this time after the sad passing of another outstanding leader on our continent, Dr. Hage Geingob, the president of Namibia, who passed away yesterday. President Geingob was one of Africa's foremost leaders, a champion of development and progress. He was one of the visionary leaders that we had on our continent who saw in Africa's abundant natural resources great opportunities to improve the lives of its people. And he was a president of a mining country, Namibia, and that is why I felt that we should pay tribute to him and remember him. We once more extend our deepest sympathies and condolences to President Geingob's family and to the government and to the people of the Republic of Namibia. Ladies and gentlemen, it is fitting that this 30th mining Indaba is taking place in the year, as I said, that we are celebrating our own democracy. Over the last 3 decades, South Africa's mining industry has undergone significant transformation. For nearly 150 years, mining has been a pillar of South Africa's economy. It currently contributes roughly 7.5% towards our GDP, and it accounts for some 60% of South Africa's exports by value. Working with industry and labor, the democratic government of South Africa has been able to effect wide-ranging changes and sustainable transformation of the sector, over the past 3 decades. Changes that were never thought could happen since mining started in South Africa. In 2004, the year the Mining Charter was first introduced, black ownership, the indigenous people of South Africa, their ownership in the industry stood at some 2% only. Today, this stands at approximately 39%, and this is something that should be celebrated as we celebrate 30 years of our democracy and 30 years of the holding of your Indaba. During apartheid, the mining industry was notorious for labor exploitation, paying what we used to call slave wages. It was also notorious for human rights violations and was most notorious for poor health and safety standards. Today, mine workers, rather miners, that is mine-owning companies, employ approximately 476,000 people. It has come down from its heydays when the mining industry employed 1 million and later 800,000. Mine workers today can organize and have their own trade unions, and they have their rights protected, which did not happen under apartheid. A legal regime confers responsibility on mining companies to work with communities where they mine, to develop economic plans in the areas where they extract their minerals, with a view of promoting development in the areas where communities live. There are also a number of employee share ownership schemes through which mine workers' participation in mining companies is being promoted. We are all acutely aware that we face strong headwinds and a number of persistent challenges are impeding mining performance. Globally, commodity prices are volatile, high energy prices, the geopolitical tensions that continue to prevail around the world continue to cause enormous challenges, and the global cost of living crisis is also playing a significant role in dampening the business operating environment. Domestically, here in South Africa, we are having to deal with the energy crisis, and on top of that, we're also dealing with a port and rail crisis, which are causing bottlenecks, putting serious pressure on miners' operational costs. Added to that, there's also the challenge of illicit mining, there's cable theft and infrastructure vandalization, and all these place further strain on mining output and returns. Being aware of this, we are committed to work together with the key role players in the industry to overcome these serious challenges, and a number of initiatives are already underway to address these very serious challenges. Last year, we outlined 4 objectives to develop the mining sector, to improve its global competitiveness and harness the global drive towards sustainable development. The first is to achieve a secure supply of electricity. Now, we put in place an electricity action plan where government has taken several critical measures to improve the performance of our existing generation fleet and to add new electricity capacity. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has secured 1,384 megawatts of new generation capacity that is currently in construction or already in operation. The department has released requests for proposals for the procurement of 5,000 megawatts of renewable energy under bid window 7, 2,000 megawatts of gas to power, and 615 megawatts of battery storage. Now, transmission capacity remains a challenge, as many of you will be aware, particularly in the Cape provinces. Eskom has recently published a curtailment regime which unlocks 3,470 megawatts of additional capacity in 3 provinces, and which will be essential to the success of Bid Window 7. The second objective was to identify and to accelerate economic reforms to improve the operating environment. We have instituted a number of reforms to enable businesses to operate optimally. Since the removal of the licensing threshold for embedded generation, the National Energy Regulator of South Africa has registered no less than 1,312 generation facilities with a combined capacity of 6,300 megawatts. Around a third of this capacity supplies the mining load. It is encouraging that more and more mining companies are taking up all these opportunities, and some of those are Goldfields, Anglo American, Siriti, and Exxaro, are beginning to take advantage of these reforms to power their own mining operations and curtail their operational capability and also reduce their own operational costs. The third objective we identified was to tackle illegal mining and the damage to the infrastructure. Since the establishment of a specialized police unit working with our defense force, we have seen a number of arrests, prosecutions, and convictions of the perpetrators of this crime. But these crimes are being fueled and aided and abetted by highly placed people, some of them in countries that are outside of South Africa. And our police are investigating this and are on the trail of these very big players who fuel this illicit mining as they try to enrich themselves. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, through our research entity, MINTEC, continues to seal ownerless and derelict mines. And these are mines that major companies operated, extracted minerals from, and then abandoned. Abandoned without doing the necessary rehabilitation and without sealing the mines, and they just packed their bags and left. Having done that, they open opportunities for small-scale miners, but worse off for the workers that used to work for them, whom they retrenched, regurgitated, and as they departed. And because those workers know the mines very well, they then take up the opportunities and engage in very dangerous operations. And this then means that the problem has now been left to government. The companies have extracted their minerals and their wealth, and they have departed, and government then has to pick up the pieces. Since 2019, the department has closed and sealed 251 derelict holes and shafts. Over the next 3 years, the department intends to close a further 352 shafts. Criminal activity and the copper cable theft in particular has had a serious impact on key rail freight corridors in our country, including the supply of coal for export through Richards Bay, our coal terminal port. Cooperation between the private sector, Transnet, and the security services has resulted in an improvement in the security situation over recent months. South Africa's freight logistics system itself is undergoing a process of rapid and fundamental change to improve its efficiency and position it for the future. Now, working together with the private sector under the auspices of the National Logistics Crisis Committee, which we set up, we are working to overcome the challenges that we have in our ports and on our rail. We've also set up the Freight Logistics Roadmap, which has recently been approved by Cabinet and which sets out a really clear path to guide this whole process of repairing our rail and also ensuring that our logistics system is repaired and becomes efficient. Now, by introducing competition in freight rail operations while maintaining state ownership of the various routes, we will unlock massive new investment in South Africa's rail system. This will support jobs in every sector of the economy, from mining to manufacturing and to agriculture. Similarly, by upgrading and expanding our port terminals through innovative public-private partnerships, we aim to position South Africa as a leading player in global markets. As government, we are alive to the reality that without bold, transformative reforms to the logistics sector, mining cannot flourish. And we've had extensive discussions with miners and who've come forward with numerous proposals. And as government, we've been very open, very cooperative, and very willing to work with the key role players in the sector, the miners. We're working hard in partnerships with industry to ensure that the roadmap that we've put in place is implemented without delay. Now, they report to me every 6 weeks as they work together as government, as the private sector, and as well as together with other various parties. And I've often urged that I want to see more progress, much quicker progress. We are also committed in 2023 to improve the regulatory framework, environment rather, by developing and putting in place a new cadastral system to assist in the operation of a modern mining rights administration system. There's been a backlog on this, but it's been given rise to by designing a system that is going to be corruption-free, a system that is going to be efficient, a system that is going to have elements of equity, and a system that is going to be of benefit to the entire sector. Now that we have a preferred bidder in place, we are confident that the speedy implementation of a modern world-class solution will clear these backlogs that are referred to in prospecting and mining applications and pave the way for the development of new mines in our country. The theme of this year's Mining Indaba is about embracing the power of positive disruption. The transition to a low-carbon, climate-resilient economy, society, and world is one of the most significant positive disruptions of our modern age. The vast majority of the minerals that are key to global energy transition lie beneath the soil of the African continent, as you have heard my two brothers articulating earlier. These include manganese, iron ore, copper, cobalt, nickel, and the platinum group's metals as well. Africa has the potential to be the fulcrum of the global energy transition, with mining at its core. So this Indaba must prioritize deliberations around how we can leverage these changes to breathe new life into mining, to ensure that mining becomes, as we have often said, a sunrise industry, to strengthen mining value chains, and also to enhance beneficiation. South Africa is pursuing a just energy transition, one that is at a pace and at a scale that our country can afford, and in a manner that ensures energy security and creates new opportunities for those who are affected. Our Just Energy Transition Investment Plan outlines a pathway to create new industries and support more livelihoods in the green economy. The delivery of this plan is premised on strong collaboration between government and all social partners. It cannot be overstated how crucial the mining sector is to the success of just outcomes, notably in regions that is the center of our energy generation, like in the Mpumalanga province. We ask you to walk this journey with us through embedding your transition principles in your social labor plans projects, your community trust initiatives, and by driving innovative green technology development. Mining has a crucial role to play in building the economy of tomorrow. And so therefore, mining can also play as a really positive disruptor as we set up the levers of this new economy. We look forward to deepening our collaboration with industry as we write a new chapter in the history of South African mining, a story of inclusion, a story of growth, transformation, and innovation, and one in which no one is left behind. We need to therefore take all steps to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind. The history of mining in South Africa, and possibly on the whole continent, has been a history where indigenous people of our continent were left behind, where those who came with their capital, with their intellectual property and knowledge and engineering capabilities, set up mines, extracted the ore or the minerals, and left behind impoverished communities. And as they did that, they set up a process through which rocks, dust, and soil were exported, and there was no beneficiation. The people of our continent now want to see value added to the minerals that are extracted from this continent. And I want to call on all the miners who come and extract minerals on our continent, from our continent, that as you invest to extract these minerals, there is a duty upon you for two things. To make sure that the communities around which these mineral resources are extracted become part of the wealth creation that you are extracting. That the communities are not left behind, that the workers are also not left behind, but more importantly, that we create a beneficial economic value chain where we stop just exporting rock and dust and soil, and we beneficiate those minerals, or partly beneficiate them, so that the value should also be shared amongst all those key role players in the area. This is a very important aspect with regard to the development of our continent. And it is for this reason that we say we should leave no one behind. Growth, development must be inclusive. And because mining companies are so creative, so innovative, I do hope that this is something that we will take seriously and in earnest and make sure that we have a fully inclusive, beneficial process that advances everybody's interest. I thank you, and I welcome you once again to South Africa, to this mining Indaba. Thank you.